Welcome to the show. Brent, Matthew, Joshua, the group's all here. Guys, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Brent. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Good. How about you, Josh?
I'm doing good. Everything's good. I'm kind of enjoying the last couple of days of the gloomy mornings. I think it's a little residual from that June gloom, so I'm doing good.
Does it kind of seem like either this year is flying by or is it like taking forever? I can't tell because sometimes it's like the days are long, but then the months are just seem like they've been flying by.
It's going by
Yeah,
fast.
yeah, pretty fast. I mean, hopefully we could get this 6 months over and get into 2021 pretty quick.
I think I did the calculate. It was like since we were last in the office, it's been like 110 days. Does that seem like a lot of days? Does that seem fast?
Yeah, but March was so long. And then the months after kind of March and April, it just started to really speed up. And I don't know what it is, but to me, it still feels like some of the days are long. It's like weeks can take some time, but then you look back and you're like, man, June's already just flew by. Now we're heading into July, and then we'll be right up in August. So it just seems like days are flying by though.
Mm-hmm. I
It's
agree.
kind of funny because when we left the office on March 13th, we put our predictions out there that we were gonna when we thought we were gonna be back in the office. I think I said the first, or I think you said the first week of April, Josh. I said the second week. Matt, you said the first week of May.
We were
And
all way off.
yeah, I think if we would have said 2021, anybody would win at that point.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You didn't see the year after my one?
Yeah. What's on the plans for 4th of July? Anybody have anything good going on?
I'm gonna play a little golf over the weekend. Always on the golf course, trying to golf once a week right now. Gonna be in the pool with my swim trunks on. Gonna grill some burgers and dogs, maybe drink a beer. Just really celebrate our country, celebrate America.
What about you,
Josh?
Josh?
Yeah, no real plans. Obviously, it's pretty hard right now to make any big plans. But my wife and I plan to eat some burgers and some dogs. I'm gonna get around and golf in with Matt here. So we'll see who does better on this America birthday weekend. And yeah, that's about it. Maybe take a bike ride, but we have no real big plans. What about you, Brent?
We're planning on. I think we may be staying home. We obviously want the kids to see fireworks. We can see a lot of that from our house, but it's kind of hard right now because you want to make plans, but with everything kind of shutting back down, it's hard to make any real plans. But we just want to make it exciting and fun for the kids. I think that's what's always the best part of holidays as you get a little bit older and you have young kids.
Yeah, for sure.
I think
Anybody? Go ahead.
you should go to one of those fireworks stores in Fontana and create your own show this year.
Yeah, I'm not about that, man. I'm not. I don't do
Doesn't
dangerous.
seem Brent's style.
No, I don't light things on fire. It's just not. I think it's illegal in our city, so I'll stay away from that. But if anybody's watching us on YouTube, you can definitely see who the golfers are because you guys look like you're both wearing golf polos right now.
Yeah, I got some new polos for that course, so might as well use them for the podcast too.
Yeah, I'm not in the golf polo. You guys are. Maybe I'll join the club soon. All right, so let's get into some hot takes. Investors ages 65 and up who made a change to their portfolio between the months of February and May, 33% of those moved some money out of stocks. What's your thought on that?
It sounds like these people need a financial planner or a little bit better advice because, I mean, I know when the market falls, it can be scary, but again, my guess is they all probably sold around March and then they bought back in May once everything, once the dust settled. But I mean, they probably lost a ton of money doing that. And, it's unfortunate because people age 65, you are at retirement age. And, we obviously work with a ton of clients who are that age and we understand the fear. But you can't let fear dictate your retirement plan.
Yeah, I agree, and 33% is a lot. Like that's just a lot of people. One out of 3 people, over the age of 65 made changes to their portfolio. I mean, to me, that just screams red flag. Like, why are so many people during this downturn, especially at a time where, if you're in retirement, I don't think your portfolio should be changing too drastically. I mean, especially if you're needing it for income or anything like that. So that number just is really alarming that many people are moving in and out of stocks at this, volatile time.
The average age in the U.S. for retirement is actually right now 62. But in recent years, the most common age has actually creeped up to age 65. So if you think about the most vulnerable time for a portfolio is really when that first, 1 to 3 years after somebody retires. So anybody who just retired or had been retired a year before, maybe even 2 years before, who is taking income from their portfolio, I can understand why that was so emotionally concerning. And, to try and stay in with the unknown of not knowing what's going to happen in the market, I get it. I get the concern that a lot of people would have, but you have to stay in. I mean, in 4 weeks, the market wiped out almost 4 years of returns. But if you missed March 24th, 25th, and 26th, you missed probably some of the best days that will happen over the next decade. You'll never make up those returns. So as scary as it is to me, and I understand that, man, 33% is a large number. I'm just, I'm glad a lot of those weren't any of our clients because, we had some calls, but people weren't really diving out of the market. They just wanted to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully maybe you could say maybe some of those people were buying like we were, but I mean, unfortunately they don't say it. So I guess we're assuming they're selling.
Right. PGA Tour pros have used the Whoop fitness device to detect COVID symptoms early. You guys being big golf guys, Matt, I've heard you drop the Whoop line a bunch of times. What's happening here with this? Is this true?
Yeah, so it is actually Whoop, which is a fitness device maker similar to like a Fitbit or an iWatch. I actually have one on right now. It's on my wrist for the people watching on YouTube. But essentially what they found was that their users who reported having COVID-19, they saw a spike in their respiratory rate days before they actually had the virus symptoms. And so they partnered with a bunch of different universities, Harvard Medical School, Birmingham Health, CQ University, and they ran a study. And what the study shows is that by wearing a Whoop band, you could detect if you have COVID by day 3 of being infected, which is earlier than the testing kits can detect you. So I of course went out and bought one real fast.
Not surprising.
We'd expect you to be first. So I guess what it basically does, the Whoop monitor basically monitors your fitness level, your health, your diet, hydration, sleep performance, respiratory rates, all of those different body ranges. And I guess what the story basically goes is the golfer Nick Watney, right? He flies into the golf tournament on Wednesday. He goes and gets tested Wednesday. He tests negative for COVID. He goes out Thursday. He plays his round. And then that night, Thursday, he sleeps. The Whoop picks up that his respiratory rate started to increase because he'd worn the monitor for a long time. And he knew what his rates were. He then started to see it was going up that night and increased throughout the night. Went and then made the conscious decision to go get tested Friday. He went and got tested. He went and started to play his round, or he went out there. Friday, they got his test results and he tested positive. So he basically could have been playing the whole weekend, just infecting everybody he was around, had it not been for this device.
Yeah, pretty amazing. And so, I mean, I decided to try it out. They have a 1 month free trial. It's $30 a month. It does take a few days to get it, I guess, regulated to your body. So I'm now just starting to get my data going. But for $30 a month, my wife's pregnant, to detect early COVID, I'll wear it.
My take is I just want the Apple Watch to do this. I think that everything that the band does is awesome. I mean, just for the simple, like if you're an athlete and like the recovery performance that it shows, just for recovering from, workouts and preventing injuries, I think that stuff's really good that band does. But I don't want to wear two bands. I wear an Apple Watch, and I know, Matt, you're showing off your two bands here. I guess this is my cry to Apple. Buy this company and incorporate it into your watch, or I don't know what the solution is, but I don't want to wear two bands, but I do think that, the story you told, Brent, and the reviews and just all of the analytics behind the band are really, really cutting edge, and I think they're awesome.
I mean, if this really does work, every sport better be getting on this for all their athletes, because, I mean, this is a way to keep players protected and athletes protected.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Same with all Americans. I tried to get my parents to buy one.
With your dad being a doctor, what was his thought?
He like poo-pooed it. He was like, "Oh no, you can never tell that." Blah blah blah. I was like, "Well, the technology's changed a lot since you were in medical school in the early '80s."
I did see a couple of doctors on Twitter that were saying the same thing, but I mean, respiratory rate. I mean, if it's able to tell you respiratory, I mean, it doesn't seem like it would be that difficult for that thing to predict that, if that's, the biggest sign of COVID is respiratory issues.
But I think even besides COVID, I mean, just to have that even more depth, like those analytics to your body, like all of those combined that it's incorporating, I think it's just helpful for just overall health or being more healthy.
Absolutely. All right, you guys ready for the next stage in this podcast?
I am.
Yes.
All right, let's head on into retirement planning corner. The question we are asking is it time for a new financial advisor? And how do you know if it is time to seek a second opinion? So we're really trying to get some insight, let people know what to be looking out for, what you want to be paying attention to. And we've created a different list of many different things that you should be aware of. So let's start with number one, which is one of my favorite: frequent portfolio changes. Every time you meet with your advisor, you're making a change to the portfolio. What's your thoughts on this, Matt?
So let's say, you go for your annual or quarterly review with your advisor, and every time you meet with them, you're making a change in your portfolio. They're maybe throwing a Morningstar printout at you and telling you the fund you're in, fund XYZ, is no longer good and you need to go into fund ABC. And here's why, and it's a gold-rated, top-performing Morningstar fund. Then they start talking about some benchmarks and how great this fund is. And I mean, you even know what a benchmark is. What's a benchmark, right? And they're just throwing big buzzwords at you and confusing you. If that's happening, it's probably time to seek a second opinion.
Yeah, throwing those Morningstar reports at you, right?
Yep.
Got to go from the 3-star Morningstar report to the 5-star.
Exactly.
Josh, what are your thoughts?
I think that, the frequent portfolio changes is just a really good indicator. And you got to ask yourself, do you have a yes man? Every time you go into the office, you're on the phone. Is it yes? I think I should change. Yes. I think, we need to change direction. Yes. So if it's always constantly change and there is no input, there's no, real knowledge or coaching or education behind the changes, who is that really benefiting? Do you even know if it's really benefiting you? If it's just constant portfolio changes with no real great explanation, only Morningstar reports and benchmark reports like you guys were talking about, I think it's a really good trigger to start looking for a second opinion.
Yeah, I guess my question would be is why is somebody constantly wanting to make trades or changes? If they are, that's more than likely they don't have a strong investment philosophy, number one. Or number two, they're doing transactions and trades because they get paid when they do transactions and trades. Back in the day, when I say back in the day, 80s, 90s, beginning 2000s, most advisors were making commissions based off of transacting. You'd place stock trades. You could buy three shares today, buy 3 shares next month. I mean, these guys are trading all over the place. And then also in mutual funds, you have loads, so you have commissions getting in and out. So there's a lot of transactions that were going on. you still see that a lot today, and we hear about it a lot. And it's just movement because of some kind of financial gain that's generally better for the advisor than it is for the client. Like, we don't really go through that. Like, I don't have a conversation of, let's make this drastic change in our portfolio. I mean, ours is all investment philosophy based. Let's make a rebalance here if we're making any changes at all or adjustments to their lifestyle or their plan. But besides that, like, I don't think that really should be happening. If it is, I would seek a second opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
Yep, agreed.
Agreed.
Point number 2, unclear fee structure. Your advisor charges you a commission. You don't understand what you are paying for. Josh, give us an idea of what that would mean.
I just want to start with the, if they tell you you're not paying anything, there's no fees. Don't worry about it. It's just baked in. Those kind of common words or common phrases that are used are just really big red flags. And we all have examples of, how unhappy we are when it's unclear of how much we're paying, whether if it's a contractor you hire for your house or an attorney. Anytime there's that unclear fee structure, when they're not very transparent about the way that the advisor is making money, it's just another red flag for clients to seek a second opinion.
Yeah, so when I was in college, my mom inherited some money because my grandparents passed away. And she went down to the bank to get some advice on what to do with the money. And what ended up happening is the lady, made her a proposal of different Morningstar reports and, sent her with some funds, and she brought it back home and showed me and my dad. And, I'm just going to make up a number because it's easy, but let's say she inherited $1 million. Well, the funds the lady was putting her in all had 5% load fees. So just for, putting together the portfolio, my mom was going to end up paying this lady $50K up front. Her $1 million inheritance would turn into $950,000 for nothing.
Yeah, you're starting off at a negative return.
Yeah, my dad and I were like, well, look, here's these A-share funds. We could just go to TD Ameritrade and buy the non-commission based funds or Charles Schwab. Why on earth would we work with this lady?
She didn't want to pay the entry fee.
Yeah. So long story short, I mean, the money's managed at Charles Schwab, but we manage it now. But this is crazy.
My feeling is that if you can't tell me exactly what you're paying on a quarterly basis, monthly basis, however you're billed, exactly what you're paying in a fee, then there's a reason to look for a change. Because you should know to the penny exactly what you're paying. You should have an invoice for it. It should be fully transparent. Like there should be no discrepancy or no lack of clarity of what you're paying in fees. There's no reason for that anymore. Technology is too advanced. People should know exactly what they're paying in costs.
You make a good point though. Like, just where's the invoice? Do you even get one? Like, how are you keeping track of that? And if you're not, maybe ask yourself that question and find out.
Yeah, because if you think of your portfolio like a business, the higher the expenses you pay, the less your profits are going to be. So how can you have unmanaged expenses? I mean, what business runs without knowing what their expenses are? And if that's your largest asset or one of your largest assets or one of your most important assets, you should probably really know what your costs are to the penny.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, next one. Doesn't do full financial planning. Your advisor only talks about your portfolio he manages or she manages for you. Matt, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so if you're meeting with your advisor and every time you meet them, they're just going over, maybe a portfolio performance report, and they're not helping you with those other areas of your financial life, like, what are you paying them for? I mean, when you go with your advisor, they should be going over your balance sheet. You should be looking at a cash flow report. You should be discussing, when you're going to retire, what your Social Security is going to look like, how you're going to convert your retirement account into income. But, a lot of these advisors out there, all they're doing is managing money. You can get money managed for really cheap at Betterment or Wealthfront or Vanguard. So like we were saying in the last one, why do you need to pay them a bunch of money if they're not doing anything?
I feel like a lot of advisors ask good questions about what people's goals are, but I don't know that they all really solve for it. Is that your feeling?
I don't know. It depends where your advisor's at. On the independent side probably, but I don't know, Josh, you have a little bit more expertise on what it's like working with a bank advisor. I mean, are they asking goal-based questions, or are they just showing a portfolio and selling?
Before I left, my experience with that side of the business was, the corporate bank was getting better at the conversation about goals and making sure that, your goals are talked about, and to make the client feel more comfortable. But it was still very, very transaction based. It was, you're getting this model. Yes, we do financial planning, but the financial plan's the same for everybody. Like, you're getting the same portfolio, and you're getting this booklet that we put together with the, full bullet points of your information to pump out this generic financial plan. So, that's something to be very, very mindful of. Is it really tailored to you? Because I think it's becoming more common, like you said, Brent, of the goal conversation being had by advisors, but is that plan actually being custom fit? Is it really being tailored to your situation, to be getting and receiving that real value of financial planning? And just on all the points that you made, Matt, and like one thing that wasn't a big conversation, especially on the bank side, was taxes, which are just a huge part of financial planning and investing. And there's not a lot of time talked about that, which I think that's a really big value add from working with an advisor that's really doing full financial planning.
Yeah, and I think if anyone's sitting there thinking like, is there really financial planning can solve for some of my really complex issues or just basic issues? Like, really, could it solve and allow me to see what I want to see? The answer is yes. I mean, financial planning software is so elaborate. It's so amazing now. Software can solve for anything. So if you're working with the right people, yes. I mean, there's so much that this software can do. I mean, for many clients, a lot of times we don't even have to touch half of what the software can do, just because everybody's situation is different, everybody's needs are different. You don't need that same thing for everybody. But software is amazing. So, if they're not really doing financial planning or solving for goals, key factor in this topic. Let's lead into the next one, and I hope you guys don't just leave this one for me. Only talks about annuities. Your advisor uses the word safe money in meetings. What's the old pitch there?
I think you should just take this one. I mean,
yeah. Get into it. Tell us about safe money, Brent.
Yeah. Okay, so the old pitch in annuities that you always hear, and I've been listening to this stuff for the last 15, 16 years, is, this investment goes up, but it doesn't go down. The most you could lose is zero. It's a stair step to financial freedom. They draw the little drawing on the board. What goes up can't go down. It's just, it's a stair step climb to financial freedom.
I don't know if I've heard that one. That's really good.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but even there was some stuff floating around online on Twitter recently about some lady that was selling annuities on TikTok. Now,
really?
It was all the same stuff. What goes up doesn't go down. The lowest you could do is zero. I mean, it's all of this, and it's all fear-based selling about, do you really want to lose any of this money, right? You've saved this your whole life. What happens if the market goes down 30%? Do you really want to lose it all? Let's put all of this money into this insurance product. Well, guess what? And what goes along with that is the whole commission-based stuff where, we get paid from the company who we put your business with, so you don't have to pay us anything. That just screams problem. Anybody who's like switching you from where you're at into these commission-based annuities, be just very, very aware. It's not probably going to go as planned, and a lot of this doesn't work out. I'll tell you a quick story. So my dad recently got pitched at his company regarding some life insurance that they're trying to implement into his plan at work. And I looked at the illustration, and it said, well, if you put X amount of dollars into this plan for the next, I think it's 5 years or 7 years, it was short because his retirement horizon was short, that you would have X amount of dollars paid out for the rest of your life. So I'm like doing the math on it. I'm like, so you put in X and they're going to give you 3 times more of that amount of money, and you're only putting in for this short amount of time. Like, okay, so basic math doesn't add up. So I reached out to them and I'm like, okay, so can you explain to me how this is possible? Well, on the illustration that they ran for him, they can only run it at a max return. So there's a max amount of rate of return they can run it at. they basically ran it at that. So they stretched the illustration as much as they can. And I'm like, okay, well, let's assume, because the world exists in a non-perfect state, that things don't go as planned and you don't get your maximum rate of return, because that's probably not going to happen in an index-based annuity or insurance like this. So they reran it. So when they reran it, though, he reran it with a different algorithm, because when you run illustrations, you can rerun it multiple times to give it the outcome that you want. That's part of the downside of working with these insurance companies also.
So basically they ran it best case scenario.
The
very best case
scenario. First time they ran it the very best case scenario. But then I had to run it the second time. The second time they ran it to me, they basically ran it where the expected rate of return was slightly less, but in no years did the market go zero or less than zero. So basically every year for the next 20 years or whatever, it had a positive rate of return. I'm like, how is that possible? Have we not seen in the last 10 years, 15 years, how many times the market can be negative? And so just the ability of which they structure these illustrations, for someone like my dad who doesn't know all the numbers, he would never know. Seems like a great deal. I put in X, you give me Y. Seems to work out great. Tax-free income. Doesn't work like that. There's just too many manipulations in that side of the industry. I don't agree with it. I think it's wrong. And what bothers me is it affects other people's life, and that's what I don't like.
Can't trust them. Can't trust insurance agents.
And I guess I should rephrase that. It's not best case scenario. That was in a perfect world. Was those illustrations that were ran for your dad? Which it's scary.
It's in such a perfect world that the insurance company, for compliance and fiduciary responsibilities, will not let you run it any different than that.
Yeah, that's a bunch of red flags.
Yeah. Anything else about safe money? Or are you guys just gonna let me handle that?
I think you covered it.
No, we like when you handle safe money.
All right. Well, if anybody wants to talk more about safe money, call me, because we can talk about that for hours. I got to tell you stories for over the last 15 years. All right. So number 5, your retirement picture is unclear. Advisor has done a poor job preparing you for retirement. You don't have an action plan or the slightest idea when you can retire. Joshua, why don't you start with this one?
Yeah, this is really good, especially if you're getting to, I think even at any age, if you've met with your advisor and it's not clear, your cash flow report, meaning your projected income, expenses, and you don't have a projected retirement date. I mean, that's just the very basics of a retirement projection. If you haven't seen that actually created for you, this is a really, really, really big red flag, because really that's what you're paying your advisor to do, is that specialty of creating this retirement projection so you have a clear picture of what your future is going to look like, and having the numbers to actually really coincide with that picture. So I think that if you haven't received that, if you've been working with an advisor and you still don't know what your projected retirement income is, or don't have a projected retirement date, those are all just, red flags of, seeking a second opinion or asking more questions, because really that's what you should be paying your advisor for.
Yeah, and then once you get that retirement plan, how are you going to distribute the money, right? The day you retire is the richest you're going to be your whole life, because most likely you have to live on that money. Most Americans do. So is your advisor helping you create a safe withdrawal strategy? So you going through all the different withdrawal options, or like Brent just said on the last one, are they selling you an annuity and telling you it's safe money?
Yeah. And I agree. I feel like a lot of people that we meet with as well, even for the first time, we have that conversation about, do you understand how your assets are going to create income for you? The answer is no. And, and that's one of the values that we add, is helping them understand how, like you just said, that withdrawal strategy of how to turn this pot of money into that income stream. And that's very, very important. I agree with you, Matt.
A lot of people think it's, just going to be dividend stocks, bonds, or an annuity, but I mean, there's other ways to do it. So,
yeah, the retirement picture, if you're sitting there and the retirement picture is so unclear and there's so many unknowns to what happens within your plan, your money, your finances, your life, that chapter of life of retirement, that's completely understandable. I mean, a lot of people enter a relationship with an advisor, with us, with that same feeling. But to me, it's kind of like, picking up a book on a topic you don't know a lot about, but you're really interested in knowing about. You don't have a lot of experience with that maybe, and you have a lot of questions maybe in your mind, and you don't have a lot of clarity on it. But once you start reading the book and you get through the book, it all starts to really make sense. That's what a good advisor should do when they're doing planning, is take something that's really unclear, relate it in a very simple way so that you can understand it, and show you very clearly how it can work and give you clear outcomes. Then you have that peace of mind knowing, you're either going to be okay, or you need to work longer, or you can make some really good decisions at that point. But make sure that should provide clarity though.
Yeah, 100%.
So we went through a lot. Any last thoughts on some of these different topics?
No, I mean, I'm good. It's if you feel uneasy with your advisor for some reason, you don't trust them, call up a fee-only advisor. Look on NAPFA.com, or is it .org? Sure, prepared better. Look on NAPFA, Google fee-only financial planner, and a lot of them, like we do, they offer those free initial consultations. Set up a phone call, talk with the advisor. You're going to get a completely different experience than working with an insurance agent, a bank advisor, a broker, or even your rep at your 401k company.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, get a second opinion. If I was having knee surgery, I would get multiple opinions. If you're about to retire, you should probably get a couple sets of eyes on your plan.
And just to check that, it is NAPA.org.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's really hard for people to make change. I mean, it's hard for me to make change, hard for all of us to make change. And, if you're sitting there like, yeah, it's not great, but with this relationship, but I just don't know who to call, go on NAPA, do some homework. It's worth it to spend the time looking and researching, because, those changes or that time you spend looking for somebody else can really change your life. It's not worth sitting on something and not making a change just for the fear of not wanting to put the effort into it.
Yeah.
Let's head into the last part of the show. RPA recommends. Matthew, I'll start with you. What do you have for us today?
So I'm just going to grab it from over here. Today I'm going to talk about Element hydration tablets. So I heard about these on a podcast. It's basically just flavored salt water, and you put it in a water bottle, you shake it up, you drink it. It's like a Gatorade, but without sugar. Really, really good. I love the product. I actually started drinking one every day. So I usually have it in the morning. I like it. Best hydration product I've ever tried.
Yeah, I after you said that, I had tried one, and I bought a box and started drinking them. They are salty, but I mean, I felt hydrated. It felt good.
Hold that box up again, Matt, just so anyone watching on YouTube can see it.
And then when I'm golfing, pro tip, I do one in the morning, and then I bring one in the cart with me.
I gotta stay hydrated.
Big golf guys. For that big golf swing you guys got, huh? Josh, what do you have for us?
My recommends today, if you've been watching the YouTube, you might have noticed, is just to get a haircut. It feels really good. Brent's been on me to get a haircut because my hair was so long. But I finally got one. It feels really good. And I recommend anyone who's been putting off a haircut, if you can get one because feels fresh, and especially in the summer. So that's my recommends for today.
You feel normal again?
Yeah. It was just, I think just the long hair, and it just kind of everywhere was bringing me down a little bit. So just a lot more smiley today on the podcast now that I got my haircut.
So my RPA recommends stems from something that Josh had taught me a while back, and I didn't really always use it to full capacity like it could. So this is something that extends from something I learned from somebody else, and that's why I want to share it with everybody else, because I think it's actually something really good. It's kind of funny because we have like this conversation in the office, or joke in the office, that no matter how much a client portfolio goes up, it's like, yeah, you did good. We're glad the portfolio's up, market's up. We made a lot of money, good, happy, clients are fine. but you save a client like $50 and they think you're the greatest thing in the world. Like, you find a way for them to save $30 or $40 on insurance, and you send them to somebody that bundles everything in, and that's like a big deal. Well, I have something that everybody can save money on. So I've been buying a lot more online, like even groceries or anything that I need that I don't really need to go to the extra stores for. I just go and get it online. But I've noticed a lot of these companies all have an area where you could put in for a discount or a voucher or whatever. Well, if you just Google that company and put discount code on there, you can find discount codes online. And you just copy and paste that discount code on whatever you're purchasing, and it immediately knocks money off of your tab. It's amazing. And I've been telling Matt, where he gets his meat from US Wellness Meat, to use the discount code, because you can save 15 or 20%. I use it every time. It saves money. And everywhere that I've been ordering from, before I order it or put my credit card in, I go and look for the discount code. I've saved hundreds of dollars over the last like 6 or 8 weeks just putting discount codes in. So I'm not a big coupon guy, but I'm all about saving money. And if you
I did have to cut off because you guys used to make fun of me for searching out the discount codes.
No, it's amazing.
I just want to throw that out there.
It is absolutely amazing. I'm telling you, I've saved $100. If you're out there, you're listening, and you want to buy something online, and it says discount code, search the discount codes and put the discount codes in, because you'll save money. And then email us and tell us how much you save, because I like that stuff.
I'd like to hear from the client saving money too. Did we talk about honey on the show yet?
No.
Honey, or it's like a Google extension.
No.
Okay, well, I'll save that for the next show. That'll be my recommend. Well, I'll piggyback on your discount code story in our next show. I won't waste a good recommends, but glad to hear you're saving money and using the search discount. Really like that.
So everybody out there, go search discount codes every time before you buy something online. Save some money, and let us know what you saved money on, because we get some really good feedback. So send us your feedback on what you saved money on.
I got a promo code for the Whoop before we close the show, since we're talking about discount codes. Joe Rogan has one. So if you use his last name, Rogan, Rogan, you get, I believe it's 20% off the Whoop band. That's what I use too.
And let's make sure they're clear. Like, we don't have like an RPA like discount code. Like we're not sponsored yet.
We should get one.
I know, that's retirement plan playbook. Plug it in.
Yeah. But thank you all for listening. If you can, please go rate our show from wherever you're getting your podcast from. If you'd like to learn more about us or read the show notes, please go to Retirement Plan Playbook. We thank you, as always, for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.